Well, welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, buying your own home and what you need to know, part 2 of our series on America's real estate investment with real estate expert Mike Bodine. Well, welcome to our second segment, Mike.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, we're buying a home. We're shifting gears now. I'm a buyer. And I don't know, but depending upon where you live in America, is it a buyer's market or seller's market? We don't know. You have to tell us your zip code. Sounds like sometimes after that first segment we talked about, it could be specific to even your neighborhood.
That's right.
All right, so got to keep that on. You want to deal with a real estate professional because there's no way you want to wing this alone or go to somebody that's just going to buy your home sight unseen. So I've heard these guys out there. Let's talk about buying your home. What am I looking for? I'm looking for value. You know, everybody wants to get the lowest price, the possibility and potential of great appreciation, walk into a home that's ready to rock. I don't want to be sitting there putting a lot of money in unless I'm skilled or maybe I have I'm a carpenter on the side. I'm a good painter or whatever. So tell me, what do I want to do to make a good shot? And let's do the first one. I'm a brand new home buyer and I've never bought before. That's scary.
Yeah. Well, we love brand new home buyers. But the very best thing that a brand new home buyer can do for themselves is to get pre-approved. And the more that somebody can show themselves to a seller as pre-approved, as in, hey, I've got my mortgage already done, and I qualify, does your home qualify? So I think it's important, first of all, the very first thing that I talk to with my clients is, well, let's talk to a lender.
What am I looking for outside the thing we talked about in the first segment, which is if I got massive college debt, that could be a problem. But if I don't have that, I'm going to my lender, and what are they looking for so I can pre-qualify so I have a little bit of strength in my negotiations? Well,
obviously they're looking at your income. They're going to do your ratios there. They're going to look at your debt. You know, that is a big deal there. They're going to look at your length of employment, how long you've been on the job. They're an investor. Banks are investors, and they want to be able to make sure that their investment in you is going to be a strong one there. So they're going to look and they're going to examine you very carefully.
And that examination, so let's say I have a good job, I have some bit of tenure at my job, and let's say, what about my credit?
Well, you need to have good credit. However,
well, let me ask you there. What's good credit? What's the number? Is there a threshold?
Well, believe it or not, FHA will do 680 as a FICO score.
Wow, that's pretty encouraging.
That is pretty liberal,
I'd say.
But typically, if you're in the 7s, you're looking at a conventional loan there.
Okay.
And the higher that you are to that 800 plateau, the better it's going to look for you. Lenders will use a compensation factor. So maybe your down payment is very thin. Well, then they're going to look at that, how long you've been on the job. They're going to look, if you've got really good credit, they're going to let that kind of balance out, kind of maybe some more negatives there.
Yeah, so if I was trying to get pre-qualified, I'm in the late 700s, 800s on these scores. I'm coming with 20% because I don't want to pay any other ancillary costs. Yes. I'm a pretty good guy there, right? I mean, as far as that goes.
If you've got 20% down and you've got high FICO scores there, yes, you are what they are looking for. You're what we're looking for, but obviously a lot of people, in fact, I would say most people don't have that.
Let's go to the opposite side. Hey, I want to retire. Can I still get a mortgage without a job?
You can. Do you have income?
Yes, I have my pension. I have my Social Security.
Well, your pension, your Social Security, all those things are going to the banks are going to look at that, and they're going to say, well, yeah, this guy can afford it. They want to know, can you afford it?
Sure. And pretty straight up. So even in retirement, not that I recommend it, but even in retirement, you could carry a mortgage.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to buy the house. I'm pre-qualified. I did what you said. I did the due diligence, the upfront work that I need to get done. Now I'm ready. I feel empowered, right? I'm going to look at a home. What am I looking? I look in there and I walk up there. The house. I saw a house the other day, Mike. Curb appeal. It was the first thing I saw. I love this front yard, right? But I can't be too enamored with the cosmetics and the outside. I got to look at the house value. What am I looking for?
Well, the very first thing that you saw, that curb appeal, that is value there. Mm-hmm. And we actually can't stress that enough. And we'll be talking about sellers later and how important that is. But, they did an interesting study many years ago. I believe it was the University of Michigan. Was that your alma mater?
No, I'm sorry to say, but it's still Big Ten.
Oh. At any rate, it was they did an analysis. Who was the smarter buyer? Was it the buyer that checked all the comps and checked the price per square foot and compared that? Did they get a better deal than the buyer that comes up and sees the house from the curb, goes, wow, opens up the front door and says, this is it?
He hasn't even walked in the house.
Well, he walks in the house and he says, this is the house.
Wow.
And that happens.
Wow.
Well, who got, and they actually tracked this for a period of years on when they resold those homes. Who was it got the better deal? It was the emotional buyer.
So emotional buyers are struck by the curb appeal and they walk in the house, they just take a look and they're in love.
Well, and you have to remember, we're not buying a duplex, we're not buying an apartment complex,
Right.
we're not buying a shopping center. This is a home.
Right.
And this is what hits close to the heart. So people, when they're looking at a home, when they're opening up that door, they're envisioning themselves in that home, which is why staging is so important, which is another thing we'll talk about later on.
Okay, so I'm buying a home and I don't want to get too emotional because I haven't even found out if the house is in decent repair, has it got issues, I just like the cosmetics of it all, right? I look in the backyard, I love that. Oh, it's got a pool. Is there a hassle there? I don't know. So when I'm looking at that though, I'm going to be buying the home. Do comps matter when I'm looking at buying a home? In other words, I'm looking at that neighborhood, I'm looking at what's sold already last year or so, right?
Yes.
Does it matter when I'm a purchaser?
Great question. It does matter. And a good buyer's agent will do the same thing that a good seller's agent will do, and that's to pull the comps, or what we call the comparable sales. A buyer should do that for their client. The buyer wants to know, hey, is this a fair deal? Am I getting a smoking deal? Or am I overpaying for this? Buyers want to know that. And we have, in my opinion, we have a fiduciary responsibility to be able to help our buyers with the matter of value. This is the biggest investment that they may make probably up to that time in their life.
That's right. That's the name of our series. This is America's one and only for most Americans, the real estate, their home is it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm buying the home value, and I really like your fiduciary comment. So if I have a good agent, he's going to protect me from doing something stupid. He's going to say, I don't know if I do that. You're overpricing. Or maybe you're lowballing it so low that you're insulting the comps, you're insulting the person who's got the house on sale, and they're never going to look at this, and your counterpart's going to not look at you very strongly either.
That's right. And what's important too, I think between an agent and their client, it's going to be trust. Do you trust your agent? If you trust your agent, then you really ought to heed what they say, because they've got years, usually they have years of experience, and they've seen, a lot of people feel like, well, why shouldn't I lowball a house? Why shouldn't I just bring in a ridiculous low offer? All they could say is no. You have to remember who you're dealing with. And when you make an offer like that, understand, Mr. Buyer, that you are insulting the seller. This is how you're starting this business relationship, by insulting the value of the seller's home. And I have seen many sellers over the years all of a sudden do this and just say, I don't care how much money he gives. I'm not selling my house to him.
So they ruin the relationship. Even if the guy came back with a better price, they're done.
Well,
already.
ultimately, money does talk.
Yes,
Okay. And the other agent on the other side is going to say, now, Mr. Seller, understand they're just doing what is typical. So you got a good buyer's agent, you have a good seller's agent, and we're explaining to our clients what's really happening here, because again, we're getting back, this is an emotional deal, and we have to keep our buyers, our sellers in check.
Real quick, Mike, before we leave, if you don't have a real estate, how do you vet a guy for a real estate agent? If you've never used it, maybe you're a young millennial, what do you do?
Call me. Well,
okay. Well, I don't think you're national, are you?
No, can't be. Well, the important thing, it's like a lot of things. Referrals, recommendations from close friends,
recommendations
is very important. If you know somebody who has had an experience with a local agent who's done a very good job for them, well, pay attention to that. That's important. And we do the same thing whether they're a plumber, they're an electrician. We all want to get somebody that we trust. Apart from that, then it's some people will go online, check reviews of agents. Others, and I've had a number of people do this when I'm holding open houses for our sellers. I'll have people in the neighborhood, they'll come by and they're looking at the house, but what they're looking at is they're looking at me. And I've actually had people say, yeah, I'm actually interviewing agents, and I do that by going to open houses.
Wow. Well, don't forget to watch part 3 of our series on America's real estate investment, selling your home and what you need to know. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, and financial advisor, or maybe even real estate agent. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.